What is up, diecast collectors? This is 9446 Network back with another diecast review, and today we are looking at Joey Logano's 2022 Pennzoil Shell Ford Mustang for Penske Racing. And this right here is one of the very few, I don't believe I've reviewed that many Logano cars on here. So we're going to be starting off with this next-gen Pennzoil car. There is also the Auto Trader car that's going to be reviewed. We're going to start off with this primary paint scheme. Now, the weirdest part of this car, I should say, is that it was not the first Joey Logano car that I had ended up with, because this was not the first Joey Logano to make it to the shipment reports. We actually got the Auto Trader first. And I was like, that's weird. Like, the primary car is the Shell Pennzoil car, so why didn't we get this one first? That's a little bit weird, but nonetheless, you're going to see both here on the channel and in the Flash Racing Cup Series and in the collection. So, we're going to get this car reviewed. Let's see here. Let's get the box open. By the way, I am keeping all these packages. If you're wondering what happens to these things, there's probably some people that wonder about it. Here it is, folks, Joey Logano's car, and right off the bat, this car looks so odd without red rims. Now, the thing with the next generation cars, particularly the Penske ones, when a team used to have colored wheels, they don't paint them the solid color anymore. For instance, this used to have the red wheels on the old car. On the next-gen car, it's just silver wheels, so I'm not really sure why Penske Racing or NASCAR or whoever made the decision to get rid of the colored wheels. I don't know why we don't have colored wheels anymore. The weirdest part is, if you've seen the Ford promotional car, you know, the show car, it had blue wheels. It's like, oh wow, so we might actually get red rims on the Logano's car and the other Penske cars. And instead, we're just getting the silver. Now, it doesn't look bad. It actually kind of looks fairly interesting on top of the red, orange, and yellow paint scheme. It definitely looks different with those chrome wheels. So, yeah, you have that going on. All the Penske cars have these silver wheels. Some of the Chevys have that charcoal, dark, like burnt gray color that can barely be seen if it isn't painted right. And that's the thing with some of these rims, but, you know, nonetheless, they look pretty good on here. Nothing too complicated, but it looks good. Number 22, Ford, Mustang, and they don't put Mustang anymore there. That's another thing. Ford right there. Pennzoil and Shell. You got Joey Logano and Ford right there. Let's see, you have Sunoco, Goodyear, NASCAR Cup Series, number 22, Pennzoil, Joey Logano, and that Mazak logo is definitely on life support. It is definitely all cut off right there by a yellow blocky paint chip, as you can see right there. A race winner sticker from Darlington, I'm pretty sure that's from. You don't get Clash winning stickers, which, by the way, we are getting the Clash raced version of this car, so if you want to get that one, that should be in the next shipment report. So you got Ford, PPG, that messed up Mazak logo, and Coca-Cola. Shell, and you got Discount Tire, and you have the long rear quarter window sticker right there, a little gray thing. You have Auto Trader and AAA, and yes, the AAA car kind of has the same template, and the Auto Club car will also have this type of style. You got 22 Crew. I'm glad they were able to keep that on there. That actually was kind of an interesting part about this, these 22 cars. Pennzoil, Shell, you got 22 Ford with the Michigan license plate with the 2022 registration sticker on there. You have the exhaust and all that stuff, the OEM details. The giant red spoilers. So yes, this car has colored spoilers. Really good. These Penske cars are going to have the colored in spoilers. You got the Shell Pennzoil logo again, Logano right there. And of course you have Snap-on the roof. And now the paint scheme, like I said, nothing too complicated on this one. It is just pretty much a yellow Mustang. So they spray painted it that iconic Shell yellow right there. Almost like that kind of a Lamborghini type of yellow, Pennzoil yellow. And the numbers are pretty much the same as last year. You got 22 with the black outline and that red-orange number fill-in. So they kept that. Now, the iconic scallop paint scheme, that's the biggest thing that's being replaced here. So, you start off with a black splitter right there. And, of course, the bottom part of the front end here, you can see there's like a red stripe. And it has a black outline on the top. So, it kind of wraps around the front, goes over the wheel well, and has the blue Goodyear as well, which is kind of weird on this paint scheme. But it goes over the wheel well. across the, well, where the side skirts would be at, but they're not side skirts anymore because that's part of the underbody. So just over that underbody right there component. And it just goes across the side underneath the 22 Pennzoil logo right there. And across the rear quarter on the rear quarter panels. And the back is covered up by the exhaust, so of course you're never going to see the rest of the red stripe because of that. So technically it is just a all yellow back bumper to it. And of course the red spoiler. So yeah, a pretty simple paint scheme. You didn't have to try too hard with this, and as you could tell, that didn't line up very well. You can see it's kind of off a little bit, but that should be alright. Now, this car, I would recommend getting, and the reason why I would recommend getting this car is because next year, this car there might not be a change to this paint scheme. Alright, I'm pretty sure this paint scheme is going to be the same next year. I don't think there's going to be a couple of cars that I know for sure are not going to get new paint schemes. And this is definitely one of them. I don't see them changing this one. This car, I think, is going to be here for the rest of this run of this style Mustang here, this next-gen car. And I say that because the scallop paint scheme has been the same since the Gen 5, which is insane to think that that car has been the same that long, all the way up to the tail end of the Gen 6. And now we finally get a new one. And this is what we have here. So it's not, I'm not going to say this is like the greatest paint scheme of the year or anything like that. It just kind of reminds me of like back in 2013 when they came out with the Gen 6 cars. They started doing like these more simpler designs. And they weren't really anything extravagant. They were just, you know, let's get a feel for how these molds are. Let's not throw too many decals on it. And let's just give people a pretty simple paint scheme. They're going to notice it from the fan stands. They're going to know who the driver is and what the sponsor and what the car is. So, yeah, that is the Joey Logano Next Gen car. And, of course, you have the Get Biofuel right there. And, yeah, if you're a Joey Logano fan, get this car first because this is the primary. And the Clash version is going to have these scratches and stuff. Now, one weird thing about this car, this paint scheme, you have it. Remember how I mentioned that this was wrapping around the wheel well in the front? It's not an error. This is actually how this car is. It doesn't run over the rear wheel panels. So that's interesting. They left the back alone. That's probably so they don't make this part of it look cluttered with the shell right on top of like another red outline. So, you know, like I said, simple scheme. Not really much else to write home about it. It is your primary paint scheme for Joey Logano. Pretty much what a primary paint scheme should be like for certain paint schemes. Now, if I was designing this car, I probably would have found a way to keep the scallop design a little bit. You can change it a little bit, right? You don't have to go insane and, you know, change everything. But, like, at least have some, like, more stripes going across the side. Because all you would have to do is wrap it underneath the 22 and the shell and all that and the Pennzoil. But they just gave us the just normal side panel, nothing crazy underneath it. A paint scheme that could pretty much be easily, this is almost like a NASCAR Heat version of like a Penske paint scheme, like a NASCAR Heat template. And this car does have the hood vents, as you could tell. They're not molded out, obviously, because sometimes these might change from track to track, so that's why they left them alone like this. But yeah, a pretty good die cast here, folks, quality-wise, besides, you know, that not lining up and the side skirt being a little lifted on the rear. But, you know, not a bad car. It's a pretty, and of course, you can tell that rear quarter window does not line up with the actual. I'm now starting to wonder, like, you know, if you're going to add extra detail to it, make sure you line it up. Because, you know, these rear quarter windows actually have shape. The mold itself has the shape of how the thing should look. But sometimes, because these cars are being made cheaply in real life because they gotta save parts, they don't do this shaped out rear quarter window, so they just have that window that goes all the way to the back, like the Gen 6 had. And so now they're making decals for it, and when they don't line it up right, it's like, why even have it on there? Like, if the quality control of these cars were much better, then yeah, add it on, but like, now you have that right there that's gonna look weird, and sometimes people that don't really follow the sport that pick up some of these cars, they're going to wonder what that is. Like, if you guys see what I'm saying, like, see how that's not even lined up? Looks like an alligator mouth. eating that up right there. So, kind of is what it is, but, you know, that's just a small gripe. This is an absolutely fantastic, well, I don't want to say like it's the best thing ever, because it really isn't. It's just like a primary car, but give you guys a 360 view of it, and you can see all the angles of it. And there it is, the underbody, and that's going to do it for Joey Logano's Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Hopefully we get some more reviews of some more Mustangs. And there are quite a bit of Mustangs in this shipment that I got in to review these cars that came in. So we're going to have Brad Keselowski and Blaney, and we've just gotten a myriad of next-gen cars from that birthday haul. So gonna have a fun time reviewing all of it for you guys, so you guys know what you guys are in for when you're buying these cars this year. Thank you guys for checking this one out. Shout out to Joey Logano fans. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecast. And my final shout out is my 6-year-old cousin who is a Joey Logano fan. Hopefully you're watching this video, and hopefully you find this car in the Authentics or in the Gold Series, or whichever one you find. Hopefully you get plenty of Joey Logano diecasts this year. And we'll see you guys in the next video.